Let me click through. There you go. So what are we going to cover today in the workshop, guys? Well, first we're going to look at what cloud software is out there and available to the market. We're going to give you a quick introduction to Xero and why it's an important tool. We're going to look at automating your bookkeeping so you can save that all important time. And Steve's going to look then at CRM systems, why they're important and how to use them in your trades business. Introduce yourself properly, Steve.
Good stuff. Okay, so my name's Steve Mark. I know some of you on the call, but many of you I don't know. So I've been a marketer for well over 15 years now. So I started my sort of career in marketing, running my own SME business, running a print and design business. And then from that, one of my very first customers was a business called Autorama, which then morphed into a van and car leasing brand called Vanarama. And I served with them on their board for around 4.5 years, but then decided to step back from that and go back to running my own business. I think as many people on the call will testify, if you've run your own business, you almost make yourself unemployable. And that's kind of what I did. So I spent 4 years with Vanarama, then stepped back. And then over the last couple of years since I left Vanarama, I've really been continuing to upskill myself as a digital marketing specialist, but really focusing on trades as a niche. You know, I worked with trades a lot when I was running my previous business. And then obviously 4.5 years with Vanarama, worked alongside a lot of brilliant tradespeople. And then since I've left, that's been where I've put most of my efforts, really, working for trades businesses to help them grow sustainably and profitably. And then in the last year, I've completed a mini MBA in marketing and a mini MBA in brand management to add to my toolkit. Just a couple of things on the call tonight. Just if you've got any questions, please drop them into the chat. There's a chat box or there's a Q&A box. So if you do have any questions, please use that facility and then we'll get to the questions at the end and we'll do a live Q&A. But for now, I'm going to hand back over to Paul Thompson.
Thanks very much, Steve. Okay, so a little bit about myself. I qualified as an accountant almost 20 years ago now. I started 21 years ago studying. 20 years ago was when I first got my first job in accounting. That was in Compass Group. So Compass Group are a multinational contract catering and cleaning company, and we worked in the accounts department in Rubery. I moved in 2005 to private practice and worked in 2 different private practice accounting firms based locally to myself, and spent about 7 years doing that. And then in 2012, I decided I'd had enough of doing it somebody else's way. I felt there was always a better way to do stuff. And so I set up my own practice in 2012. Since setting that practice up, I've worked with a variety of different types of businesses in a variety of different sectors, anything from a small self-employed person right through to £20 million turnover businesses. And we are a Xero certified practice and have been for just over 6, nearly coming 7 years actually. We've been using Xero, so we're a Xero certified practice. Okay, so what am I going to cover in this section? Well, we're going to talk about why cloud software. Why should you be using cloud software for your business? We're going to look at what options are out there in terms of the cloud bookkeeping element of software. We're going to focus specifically on Xero. As I say, I am a Xero practice. We do have some people on QuickBooks, but we quickly move them over to Xero. We're going to look at how to automate your bookkeeping so you can save, as I say, save that all important time. We're going to look at add-ons that work alongside Xero and add additional functionality and again, additional time-saving elements. We'll look at what you can get in terms of bookkeeping from your software, what information you can get. And then we're going to look how you can collaborate with your accountant by using cloud software. And we'll do some Q&A at the end once Steve's done his bit as well. So let's look at why cloud software. So cloud software can add efficiencies within your business. Gone are the days where you write out an invoice on a piece of paper and hand it to your customer for them to pay. There's a lot of ways now that you can raise invoices and do that quite quickly from a telephone, from a mobile phone, sorry, or from an iPad or a tablet of some form. They invariably give time savings, which is what we're all about today. It gives you greater visibility on your business. You can see instantly the numbers within your business, what your turnover is, what your profit is, who owes you money, who you owe money to, what money you've got in the bank, cash flow forecasting. That information is available instantly. So you can pull an app up on your phone, or you can pull the desktop software up on your computer and get that information with just a few clicks. Gone are the days where you'd have to sit there with a spreadsheet, adding numbers up, making sure everything was correct to get that information before you could do anything with it. It enables you to make easy decisions in your business about investing in new machinery, a new vehicle, whether you can take on a member of staff. It gives you that ability to make those decisions far quicker than you would have done before. And as I mentioned earlier, you can collaborate greater and in more depth with your accountant. Your accountant will be able to log into the software at the same time as you and see exactly the same data. It's all live. You don't have to wait for any updates to be done. So you will be looking at the same data each. And also it can integrate with other apps that can improve the time saving and efficiencies of the business, but also it enables you to do more with the software. All of these cloud softwares are very much similar. They are built for mass SME market. So plugging in other additional apps can add functionality to that software. So what's out there? These are the main players that are out on the market at the moment. Sage has been around in some form for almost 40 years. It was one of the original SME softwares for accounting out there. It was sold out by accountants to SME businesses, enabling them to do their bookkeeping day to day. And it was very much desktop-based software, as was QuickBooks. QuickBooks started a couple of years after Sage, 37 years ago. And that again was also desktop-based software. But once we entered the noughties, kind of 2000 onwards, a new breed of software was developed, starting initially actually with Cashflow in 2005, quickly followed by Xero and Free Agent. QuickBooks also developed an online version of their software, but it took Sage some time to catch up. They didn't come in until probably 6 or 7 years ago. And their current form of software, Sage Business Cloud, only came about in 2017. The reason we as a practice chose Xero, I actually trialed a lot of these softwares when I first started, and I felt that Xero was head and shoulders above the other software. They put a lot of money and time into developing the product so that it would work best for as many businesses as possible, and they've just developed that software year on year since. So is Xero right for your business? As I say, we're a Xero accountant, so we focus on Xero. We know most about that software. So is it right for your business? Well, anybody that needs to raise invoices for their customers or purchase materials or goods to run their business, if you're VAT registered, if you need access to instant information, if you want to make decisions easy, collaborate with the accountant and save time, then cloud software is definitely for you. It enables you to do things far quicker than you would have done previously. And it also saves time with automation around a lot of the tasks that would need to be done for your business in terms of its finance function. So I've got 9 quick tips here for automating your bookkeeping. What can you do to automate your bookkeeping? Well, within Xero, you can set your sales invoices to repeat. If you have perhaps invoices for customers that are on a retainer, where you are going out and doing maintenance work for them on a regular basis, and that you invoice them for a fixed amount each month to undertake that work. You can actually automate that invoice so that it sends out without you needing to intervene. It will send that invoice out every single month or every single week or every single quarter, whatever you set it to be, without the need for you to do anything. It will do that automatically. It will email it out to your customer, and you don't need to do anything. It enables you to set up online payment links for your sales invoices, so you can use something like Go Cardless or Stripe to take payments, or for your customer to pay you without, again, you needing to do anything. You can automate processes for chasing payment if they don't make a payment to your invoice. So you can automate that process. So again, it saves you time in chasing, phoning people up or emailing people to get payment from them. It will automate that process. You can connect Xero to your bank account. What that does then, we call it a one-way street. So Xero can't make your bank make payments. All it does is pull all the transactional data day to day into Xero so that you can reconcile that to your sales and purchase invoices. You can set up bank rules within Xero. So there will be certain transactions where you don't get an invoice, bank interest, loan payments, things like that, payments for finance, HP for vehicles and such. You can set up bank rules so that that will automatically be dealt with, and all you do is just reconcile it against that bank rule. You can use Go Cardless for Xero, and that automates payment matching. So if your customers use Go Cardless, if you're not aware what Go Cardless is, it's an online direct debit facility, far cheaper than the banks do for their direct debit facility. And what Go Cardless for Xero does, it automatically knows that Go Cardless has taken a payment for a particular invoice and will automatically match it in the bank reconciliation, again saving time for you going to search for the invoice to match it to. You can use Receipt Bank. Receipt Bank is an app that you use to upload your purchase invoices to a dashboard, which then pushes across into Xero or QuickBooks, whichever you use. And you can turn on the auto publish, so it will automatically publish that as soon as you upload it into Receipt Bank. Within Receipt Bank, there's another feature called Invoice Fetch. And what Invoice Fetch does is there's over 2,000 different suppliers now that Receipt Bank is linked to. So a great example is BT. If you've got a BT telephone bill or British Gas for your utility bills, it will automatically link. You will log in to your online portal for BT or for British Gas or whoever, and it will automatically, every time a new bill is uploaded to your account within your supplier, it will automatically push that through into Receipt Bank. It just cuts out the amount of things that you need to manually push through to Receipt Bank. And you can also use the repeating journal function within Xero as well. So if there's something that you have to journal each and every month, I'm thinking like interest on a bank loan or interest on HP, where it would be a fixed amount that would go through each month, then you can put a journal through that would repeat every month, again, saving the time for you to manually do that. So that's a few quick tips just to automate the bookkeeping process. So what add-ons work alongside Xero? So we've put Xero in the middle here because it is the core for us. It is the core of everything that's done with your bookkeeping. So you'd have Xero as the central function there, and then you plug all these other apps into Xero. Now, Job Logic for trades businesses is a new piece of software that we're looking at to implement in our trades business customers. And it's a whole job project function piece of software that allows you to quote for the business, convert that to an invoice, which automatically pushes into Xero, but it also tracks the time of your operatives on the job. You can live track where they actually are. So if they're on the way to the job, on the way to the next job, on the way home or whatever, they can track their time. So they will track that they're on the way to the job, that they've arrived, that they're working, they're finished, they're now on the way to the next job. So that allows you a whole tracking of everything that's going on with each individual job or project. It also makes sure that you are charging the correct fee for that job when you're quoting for work. You can add the materials on at different, all the different bits of material with all their cost and retail prices. You can add your labour time on and charge that out at the rate that you charge each of your individual operatives at. And it just makes sure that you are pricing correctly right from the outset. You set the parameters once and it will automatically calculate those prices. For the plumbers and heating engineers, or for the electricians out there, it will also do all your gas safe, your NIC, EIC certificates that you need to do when signing off the work that you've done. That's all automated. It will email those out to your customer, and it will also attach it to the job invoice. And as I say, when you invoice that job, it pushes that through into Xero, ready for your bookkeeping side. We've touched on Receipt Bank already. Excuse me. We've touched on Receipt Bank already. So Receipt Bank is an app that you use to upload all your purchases, anything from your materials through to your fuel, to your road tax, your insurances, anything that you spend within your business and you have a receipt for, you can upload it via Receipt Bank. Receipt Bank can do that in two different ways. If you have a paper receipt, there's an app for your phone. You just simply open the app, take a photograph of the invoice, make sure that it's in focus and complete, and then just upload that to the dashboard. If you get invoices on email, then that email, you get set up with an email address within Receipt Bank. You just forward that email to Receipt Bank. Don't need to do anything else. You haven't got to download it. You haven't got to type anything in. You just literally just forward that email to the Receipt Bank email address. And what Receipt Bank does, it extracts that image or that PDF document from an email, sits it in a dashboard, and it'll tell your accountant or yourself, if you do it yourself, your bookkeeper, whatever, it'll give them the date, who it's for, how much, and it'll say, we think that it should be coded here. You can override that coding and just say, no, actually it needs to go here. And then you just publish that through and it goes into Xero, ready for you to reconcile against bank transactions. But I mentioned earlier about auto publish. If you've got suppliers that you regularly purchase from and it's always for the same thing, again, BT, there's a great example, they're always going to supply you with a telephone bill. So you can code BT to always publish to telephone, and then you can click an auto publish button. Every time then you upload a BT bill to Receipt Bank, it will already know what it is. It'll extract the data and send it to Xero without you needing to do anything. So again, it just speeds up that process. Again, we talked about invoice fetch, so you can link all that to all your suppliers that are within the invoice fetch feature of Receipt Bank, and it will automatically pull any invoice as soon as it's raised in your account. It will pull that straight into Receipt Bank. You don't need to log into your telephone account and download that invoice and then put it into Receipt Bank. It will automatically do it for you. Let's talk now about Starling Bank. So Starling Bank, there are obviously other banks out there. Starling Bank are one of the new challenger banks. We have an affiliation with Starling Bank. You can look at Tide, or you can look at Metro Bank. All of those are what we call challenger banks. So they're not regular high street banks. They are a much slicker operation now. We use Starling Bank ourselves in our own accounting business. And what that does with Starling Bank, they've got an online app, so you can pay from your online app to your suppliers if you need to. But Starling Bank has a very quick link with Xero. A lot of the high street banks, Barclays, Lloyds and such like, they're always 24 hours behind with uploading the data from today. So you won't get any spending that you've done through your bank today, or any money that you've had come into your bank today, you won't see in Xero until tomorrow. And actually, sometimes you want to reconcile there and then. Starling, as soon as that money hits your account or leaves your account, that information is in Xero straight away. So you can reconcile that transaction immediately. A lot of the challenger banks, they don't make charges for bank fees or anything like that. You'll still pay interest, obviously, but their bank fees, they're not currently charging anything. So they become far cheaper than a high street bank. High street banks, you're probably getting 12 to 18 months worth of free banking. Chaser. So Chaser is a piece of software that allows you to automatically chase invoices. Now, most people wait to chase an invoice after it's overdue, or once it becomes overdue. Whereas what Chaser will do, it will automatically email your customers 7 days prior to the due date of the invoice, reminding them there's a payment becoming due. They will also, you can also set that to, you can set your own parameters. You can do 10 days before, 7, and 1 day before, so that it makes sure that it's paid. And then once it becomes overdue, you can change the wording of the email. So you can actually say, you know, this invoice is now overdue. Please make payment as soon as possible. Again, giving them options to make that payment. Go Cardless and Stripe are methods of taking payment. We've already touched on Go Cardless. It's an online direct debit facility, really easy to set up. Again, you can have a clickable link within Xero from your invoice. So you send your invoice out and there's a Pay Now button. They can click on that. If you have Go Cardless or Stripe or both set up within Xero, then they can click that link and make that payment there and then. It makes it far easier for them to do so. But if you've got regular work or regular customers that you're doing continuous work for them, Go Cardless is a great way to take that payment for your invoice based on its due date. Stripe is an online card payment facility. So again, you don't need to have a card machine with you at all. You can utilize Stripe to take that payment online. It does have, you can get a terminal for it as well. So you can take payment there and then from a customer with a card, but Stripe is a way for them to pay online. So getting information from your bookkeeping. So there's some reports that I've just pulled up in the next couple of slides from Xero that show the kind of reports that you can run on a as and when you need to basis. So your profit and loss is your most important report that you're going to be looking at. It's going to show you what your turnover is, your cost of sales and all your overheads, and show you what your profit is. Now, as I said before, you can see exactly the same as your accountant can see. So your accountant can also be looking at this report and can be delving into the various account codes in there just to see, you know, it might be that, you know, on this particular one, £8,700 worth of advertising, they might go, they never spend that much in advertising. Let's dive in there and have a look what's in there. It might be that you've coded something incorrectly. It might be that actually you've paid for a new website up front, and actually you might write that over 2 or 3 years because, you know, it's not a cost that's associated with right now. But it allows you to look at that profit and loss report. Another one is your balance sheet. Your balance sheet, I'll just go back to the profit and loss. The profit and loss is what we term a movie. It's a period of time from the start of the movie to the end of the movie. Now, that movie could be this month, it could be this quarter, it could be this financial year, but it's a period of time. Whereas a balance sheet is a snapshot. It's like a photograph. So it's a snapshot in time at a particular date. So that could be at your month end, at your quarter end, at your year end. And it shows you where your business is at in terms of its assets and its liabilities. Age receivables, so that's anybody that owes you money. So this report will show you who owes you money and how old it is, so you can start chasing your older debt sooner and get those paid. Your age payables is the opposite side of that, so it's people who you owe money to, so you can see who you've got payments coming up due and when they should be paid. Your VAT report. If you're VAT registered business, you should be running your VAT report at least once a month. That gives you an idea of what your VAT is building up to be. You can set that money aside and plan for paying that VAT. And finally, Xero released a short-term cash flow forecast. They only do it up to 30 days, so you get the next week or 30 days. They don't do anything beyond that. You would need to look at additional software such as Float to do something like that. That's cash flow forecasting, but it can do cash flow forecasting for 12, 24 or 36 months, so far greater into the future. And what Xero does, it takes your bank balance as it is now. It looks at the sales invoices that you've got outstanding and calculates based on the due date of those sales invoices, assuming they're paid on time. And similarly with your purchase invoices, it uses the due date of those to predict what your cash flow will be in 30 days' time. So I think this is my final slide now. So 9 benefits of collaborating with your accountant. So you get better advice throughout the year, which means more access to tax savings. A lot of tax savings can't be done post year end. They need to be done within the financial year. I'm thinking contributions to pensions. I'm thinking trivial benefits. Those kind of things need to happen within the financial year to have a tax implication. So working with your accountant throughout the year, they're able to spot these far easier and advise you to do them and tell you what those tax savings are likely to be. It also enables your accountant to spot potential problems before they escalate. It amazes me the amount of people that, you know, we've had people in the past that bring their accounts in 7 months after the year end, and then we discover they've exceeded the VAT threshold and they should have been VAT registered 12 months ago. Whereas actually, if you're working with your accountant on a collaborative basis, they'll be able to see that happening and advise you accordingly. It enables you to better prepare for upcoming tax liabilities because you know what they are. Again, working with your accountant, they can advise you on your corporation tax if you're limited, personal tax if you're not, VAT if you're VAT registered, PAYE if you've got staff. You can see what that is building up to be throughout the month, throughout the year, and it enables you to plan better for it. Help to get your pricing correct. By collaborating with your accountant, they can see what your cost of sales are, what your overheads are, and actually, are you charging enough for what you do? The easiest way to increase your bottom line is to increase your charge out rates, the fee that you charge per hour or per job for the work that you do. They're able to spot cost saving opportunities. We're working with a plumber in London, turnover of just over £1 million. And we were able to spot that he was paying an absolute fortune for his fleet insurance on the 8 vehicles he got. We put him in touch with our insurance guy who saves him £3,000 straight off, covered our fee for the year and some. Improve your cash flow. If you can see that your customers aren't paying you, you can chase it, you can get that money in earlier, you can get them to pay by direct debit using the pay now button. It just aids your cash flow within the business. You can have a mini set of accounts however often, whenever often you need them. You don't need to wait to the end of your financial year or beyond the end of your financial year to get some accounts. You can run a set of accounts every single month. They're called management accounts. Any business that is looking to grow should be having management accounts on a regular basis. And it can also help you to achieve your goals, both business and personal. We work with a lot of our clients on their personal goals, and we help them. Focusing on their personal goals helps them to achieve their business goals, because actually if the business is working well, they're able to achieve their personal goals. So that's it from me. I'll hand over to Steve. There's our contact details. If you do want to get in touch with us, it's office@getsmartaccountants.co.uk. The telephone number's there. We're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn. Go find us. I'm the Get Smart Accountant. Emma, my wife, is the Get Smart admin. She's the admin side of the business, and obviously I'm the accounting side. So do connect with us, and we look forward to having a chat with you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Paul. That was really good. I'm a big fan of Xero. I use it in my business, and I encourage all my clients to use it. The great thing is, as we know, it can bridge with so many other pieces of software, you know, as the interface. So the reason why Paul's gone first and to sort of introduce you to Xero is because Xero, like we said, is the conduit. It's the bridge to so many other pieces of software that are really important in your trades business. So I'm going to take you through one aspect of how Xero can plug and play with other software, and the software that we're going to cover is CRM, and I'm going to take you through the power of CRM and how it can impact your trades business. And as we said at the top of the call, this is all about stuff that's going to save you time. So we'll go through, and like I said, if you've got any questions, drop them into the chat, and then we'll tackle them at the end. Or there's a Q&A button. If you look on the bottom of the Zoom screen, you can ask any questions in there. So there's three things I'm going to cover. So the first one is, what is a CRM system, for those that don't know? how to use it in your business, and your ideal digital tools ecosystem. So looking at some of the tools that Xero can plug with and how you can use them in your business to save you time, which is what this is all about. So the first thing, what is a CRM system? So CRM, it's an acronym, and it stands for Customer Relationship Management. And it's the process of managing interactions with existing as well as past and potential customers. That's pretty much, in the basic terminology, what a CRM is. You know, a CRM system integrates with your email. It allows you to create projects within a good CRM system, automate things like follow-ups, which we're going to cover and go through. You can store documents, you can do all your email marketing through it. You can even have your sales calls tracked and monitored through your CRM, and of course maintain and nurture relationships with customers. And we're going to explore some of that in the next sort of 15 to 20 minutes. So what can happen if you don't have a CRM? This chaos, paperwork flying about all over the place. Or if you're, if you are good, you might have the data somewhere in a spreadsheet, or you might have it in a Word document, or you might have it in MailChimp. But invariably, for most of the people that I work with, this is kind of where we start. We start at this base point, which is a paper system. So I just want to, this isn't really so much a marketing workshop, but I did just want to briefly walk you through the typical marketing funnel, because it's relevant when we're talking about CRM. So at the very top of the funnel is awareness and attraction marketing. Then when you've gained the attention of your target audience, it falls into acquisition, then into fulfillment, and then finally into hopefully retaining that customer and nurturing that relationship. So some of the terminology we'll use is around, so at the top of the funnel, it's attraction marketing, then it's acquire and nurture, fulfilling that, the sales pipeline, and then turning those customers into referrers, but actually retaining them as customers as well. And this is what this is all about with CRM. So this is a handy little sort of wheel that kind of explores the four main facets of CRM. So number one, your CRM system should be good at helping you build prospect data. It should help you build sales funnels. So for some of the guys on the call, plumbing and heating businesses, trades businesses, you will have specific services that you offer, and you might want to build very specific landing pages to help you generate inquiries for those services, and a CRM system will allow you to do that. And it also helps you manage those inquiries, so it stores them in one place for you to then go on and manage them and nurture them through the process. So anyone coming into your business as an inquiry, ideally you want to then nurture them all the way through to them being a customer, and then delivering a great service and retaining them. Then we move on to the second part of the wheel, which is around acquisition. So it's managing those prospects from being a lead to then starting to become a sale. You can view your pipeline. So if you've, let's say you've got 50 inquiries, each one of those may be at different stages in the sales pipeline. Some will have been quoted, some are on hold, some are to be quoted. And this is what a good CRM system will help you manage. You can also schedule callbacks and reminders. So rather than just going out to quote a job and leaving it to chance that the customer is going to call you back, you can use your CRM system to schedule reminders for you to get back in contact with the customer. And as we'll see in a few minutes, you can actually use the CRM system to do that kind of work for you. So you can automate scheduled reminders. You can manage your workflow through the CRM system, allows you to communicate with customers and manage those job statuses from, like I said, from initially quoting through to the quote through to the actual delivery of the service. And then when a job is closed, that should then trigger an email sequence that again, automates this process for you, so you don't have to do it manually. And then the final element of a good CRM system will allow you to retain those customers. So be front of mind when they might need your service again, or they're being asked for recommendations, and it should allow you to grow your database as well. That's could be newsletters, campaign management, scheduling of future service reminders. So when that job has been fulfilled and it moves on to this final quadrant, you might want to set up reminders so that in, let's say again, boiler engineer, you fitted a boiler today, maybe in 10, 11 months time, you want to remind the customer that they've got their annual service coming up. And rather than it being left to chance or being in a paper diary, it can go into your CRM system to make sure that the customer gets a reminder to get in touch and to book that all-important service. So it's really about taking that customer or prospect and nurturing them into a sale, and then finally making sure that you retain them. This is a typical CRM dashboard. So as you can see, you will be able to get this kind of high-level view of your business. So you'll be able to look at the contacts. And this is why it's important, to consider Xero, because you can plug in your financial data into the CRM system. You can schedule tasks. So as you can see there in the bottom right-hand corner, call for demo. It does a lot of the automation for you, so you don't need to remember it. You've got enough on your plate servicing the customers that you've got. You can do email campaigns. You can look at your sales funnel, how many deals you've got waiting to be completed, how many have been quoted, how many are completed, and hopefully not too many, but how many have cancelled. And then, finally, it will just give you this high level view of your business. Good CRM will have this sort of dashboard when you log in. Then you can go into more detail. You can look at your customers, create campaigns, create email campaigns, and schedule those all important tasks. So a good CRM system, one that's implemented well and one that's consistently used in the business, brings order to chaos. CRM systems are only as good as the person using them. It takes time to create the habit of using the tools consistently. That's really important. Even if you've invested in your CRM system, it doesn't just happen by itself. You've got to use the tools proactively. Okay, so the second part of this is how to use a CRM system in your own business. So this is a typical customer journey without a CRM. This is what it generally looks like from my experience. So generally an inquiry will come in through the phone, website or social media. It could be a message through your Facebook page or through Instagram. And if you don't have an automated system, if you don't have a computerized system, it may get written in a notebook. I've got my notebook here, and generally if somebody rings me up, it will get written in there first, but I will make sure that it goes into the CRM system. So generally this will get added maybe to a spreadsheet if you're really good. You'll call the customer and you'll set an appointment to go around and see them. You'll do your home visit and you'll do the quote. And that quote invariably for most of the trades businesses that I start working with will either be done in something like Word or Excel. You'll send it over to the customer, and if you've got time, you'll follow them up unless they've got to you first and hopefully book the job. But if they haven't, what sort of process, what sort of system have you got for following those quotes up? Hopefully the quote's accepted and the job's booked in, and you get the work done and it's signed off by the customer. But what happens then, if they pay while you're there, that's great. And if you've got your payment terminal, as Paul was talking about, then that's great. But if not, you might invoice them and then wait for payment. But as Paul was saying, if you're invoicing customers, you're then responsible for following up and making sure those invoices get paid and you've got enough on your plate. And then the job is finally closed. If you haven't got a CRM or you don't have a database, the job's closed, the customer's done, and in most cases, that's it. That's the last the customer will hear from your business unless, they get in touch with you or they see something on social media. But invariably, that's the end of the the transaction. With CRM in your business, this is what it can look like. So an inquiry comes in from the phone, website, or social. It goes straight into your CRM system, or if it's a phone call, you'd need to input it manually. The system then should trigger an automated response to say thank you for your inquiry, with maybe a little bit more information on the business. Those sort of emails are an opportunity to start building that relationship really early on, so that when you do pick up the phone to the customer, they've already experienced some of the great stuff that your business is about. So you might call the customer back, and then you would update your CRM system to say call back or call back, because you want to keep this CRM system updated at every step of the way. Then you've booked in the customer if they want to go ahead, which hopefully they do. You've booked them in, and you've gone out to see them, and you've produced a quote via one of the tools that Paul was talking about, which has then gone into and also updated your CRM system to make sure that you've got a digital record of what you've sent them. Let's say, give you a scenario that you've sent this quote over to the customer. Again, when you're out on the tools or you're busy, have you got the time realistically to start phoning customers and start chasing those quotes? But you can actually get your CRM system to do it for you. So you can set it so that, let's say after 2 days, or you might want to do a day, it can follow up with an automated email that goes out to the customer that says, hope you got your quote satisfactorily. Is there anything we can help you with? We look forward to hearing from you. And it's just that psychological nudge, which for most customers will result in them picking up the phone and responding positively, or hopefully not negatively. Then you book the job in, and the CRM then sends a further email to the customer. So you've won the job, you've booked it in, you've updated the CRM to say job booked. And then what you want the CRM to do is then send that customer an email that says, what happens next? How long am I going to wait? What's the process? What do I need to do to my home to prepare it for the installation? All these kind of questions that you have. Jobs completed, the CRM system is updated. If you're a plumbing and heating business or an electrician, you will send off your certification to the customer. And that's done automatically. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about writing out paperwork on site. It can all be done through the CRM and the job management systems that you have in place. And then once you've set them up once, they can just be repurposed and reused. And then at the end of the transaction, an email goes out to the customer saying, thank you for your business. And would you kindly leave us a review? And it's a great way of, at the end of that transaction, just trying to encourage that customer to leave a positive review for you. So that's what a really good journey will look like with a CRM system deployed. So that customer is now in your CRM system with job notes, a full contact details. So you've got their phone number, you've got their email address, you've got their physical address, rather than it just being, a mobile number on a piece of paper or on a spreadsheet. You've got their full details, and a review request has been triggered. Then what can happen, once now you've got this CRM system up and running, you can then start to send them regular newsletters. So you could do a monthly or quarterly newsletter sent out via email. You can inform them of new products and services that you've got coming on stream. Send them special offers, discounts. We're right in the midst of Black Friday. And you know what? Even the biggest companies involved in boiler installations and trades are doing Black Friday deals. Boxed, I happen to see, we're offering £100, off a boiler. So if you want to compete with some of these big boys, then, you need this ability to be able to maintain contact with your customers. You can automatically set annual service reminders. Like we said, once you've completed a job, you can then go in and update the record and say, send this customer a reminder in 10 months' time that their service is due, and to contact us to book it in. It will store their purchase history, so you've got a full history of what they've purchased. You can even use it to send birthday cards if you've collected their address. A lovely little keep in touch strategy might be, as part of the process, to grab their date of birth. If you're doing finance for a customer, then you will have their date of birth. you know, even if you don't send birthday cards, you could send an installation anniversary card, happy 1 year since you've had your new kitchen, anything like that, anything that's going to make the customer smile, or happy, you know, 12 months of having your lovely blinds. I know we've got blinds and shutters installer. So, you know, you can have some fun with it, and obviously keep notes and additional information. So if you know the customer loves golf, maybe you could send them a little golf gift on their birthday. I don't know, but there's lots you can do with it. So this is all about creating a customer-centric journey. This is all about creating a great experience for the customer. We live in an age now where, you know, the customer is king. If they weren't king 20 years ago, they certainly are king now. There's so much choice. There's so many brands out there. So it's about you creating this really great journey that puts the customer right at the heart of it. So, you know, here's what you can do when you've got your CRM system set up. You can email the next steps and what to expect on the day. So you send that when you book the job quote, you book the job in to be quoted. Your second email that goes out could be an appointment reminder. And again, this is all handled automatically by the system. So it sends, you know, the day before the appointment, so the customer knows what time, you know, you're going to be turning up. And then the third one, you know, is on the day, and this is your appointment. This is your appointment time. And this is all so that we can have this really great keep in touch strategy with the customers. Email 4 could be a couple of days after you send the quote, and email 5 could be 5 days after the quote was sent. And you can automate all of this stuff, so you don't have to, you know, you don't have to be sending emails manually. This is the idea with CRM, and this is the idea of this whole kind of workshop, is ideas to help save you time. So all these emails can be created once and used multiple times, saving hours of manual work every week. And then finally, just to wrap up, I thought I'd give you an idea of what your digital ecosystem could look like. So, you know, Paul has gone through some of these, Job Logic, but there was one or two others that I just wanted to share with you. I've had experience with most of these. Tradeify, I know, is a very popular app for all sorts of trades, you know, from electricians, builders, plumbers. Similar with Powered Now. One of my guys is using that and finds it hugely effective. Honestly, it's saved him hours every week of manually filling out gas safe certificates. And I know Job Logic, what Paul said, it does the same sort of thing. And Surefire is another one. But of course, you know, with these tools, they do the management of the job management stuff really well, and automating a load of key tasks around specific trades. But what these tools don't do so effectively is allow you to have this great CRM system that allows you to keep in touch with your clients, your customers. So, you know, this whole thing really is built around having this great tool, you know, Xero. Because what Xero does is Xero, I know, plugs in with at least 2 of these tools. And it kind of acts as the conduit, if you like, the bridge to all the other tools. So these are the CRM tools that you could be looking at for your business. So Get Response is a great tool. I use that myself. Active Campaign is hugely popular. I think most people will have heard of HubSpot. And then you've got loads of other players, Really Simple Systems being another one. But really the bit in the middle is Xero. So the data will flow from your job management tools. It will flow into Xero. And then from Xero, it can then flow into all these other pieces of software. And another tool you might have heard is Zapier. And Zapier will do a very similar thing to Xero in being the sort of conduit for being able to use these other tools and to be able to share data across these other tools. And then just finally, just to wrap up, one of the questions that might be on your mind is, you know, what's the cost of all of this? So typically, and I know these tools vary enormously, but typically tools like Tradeify, Powered Now, Job Logic, they're about 25 to 45 pound a month, depending on the level of support and the level that you take it at. Xero, again, depending on, you know, the additional, you can have payroll built into Xero. So depending on the configuration, it's about 35 quid a month. And then these CRM tools, these vary hugely depending on what functionality you want. So they do vary quite a lot. I mean, Get Response, I pay, I mean, mine is, I think, 30 quid a month. Active Campaign for some of my other customers is 80 to 100 pounds. HubSpot, they do a free version, which is, you know, it's enough to kind of get you started. But as soon as you start adding some of the other automation stuff, you know, it ramps up quite quickly. So, you know, these tools combined could be anything from sort of 100 to 200 quid a month, depending on the setup and depending on the level of functionality that you've got with these. So yeah, you're looking at 100 to 200 quid. So just as a real quick recap, so CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management. That's what it's all about. It's managing that relationship with your customers. It helps you manage not just your customers, but prospects and customers past and present. Allows you to manage, you know, the attraction of new customers and the acquisition and fulfillment of those customers. So, you know, delivering that service to the customer. It's great for retaining existing customers. Like I said, there's so many ideas there that you can do to keep the customers engaged, keep that front of mind. You know, it's a crowded market out there for a lot of trades businesses. Even if you've done a great job, in 12 months' time, are they going to remember you? 18 months' time, are they going to remember you? Hopefully, but they might not. You can automate loads of key tasks, such as the service appointments that we said, and doing this sort of email nurturing after you quote them, so you don't have to worry about picking up the phone. You can let your CRM system do that heavy lifting. It gives you an overview of your sales pipeline, so you know exactly how much potential business you've got and at the different stages where that business is. If it's set up correctly, it should definitely save you time, and it shouldn't just save you money, it should produce you money. And it helps to create a really customer-centric organization. And just to sort of close off, so when set up correctly and used consistently, a CRM should not only pay for itself, but produce additional revenue for the business. So I hope you enjoyed that. We've got a Q&A, so if you do have any questions, drop them into the chat. I'm going to stop sharing my screen in a minute and we'll go through. I've been sent a couple of questions beforehand by a couple of the attendees, so I'll answer those in a second. But you can, so what are the next steps? I mean, it's, you know, it's possible to get a CRM system up and running yourself. A lot of these tools, you know, they kind of have the ability to be quite user-friendly. So you can do it yourself, or you can speak to someone like me, and I can certainly give you some initial advice and some initial steering, but I can also help you set them up as well in your business. So you can get in touch with me through the website, getmoreleadslocally.com, or hello@getmoreleadslocally.com. I'm very active on LinkedIn, so you're more than welcome to connect with me on there. I've got a free Facebook group, which if you're not in there, it would be great to see you in there. And that's facebook.com/group/marketing for trades. And finally, you know, go and like my Facebook page. We tend to share quite a lot of information on there, all to do with marketing and all to do with running your local business, your trades business. So that kind of wraps up both parts of the presentation. I hope you enjoyed them. We have got some questions. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Yeah, there's some questions. Let me just have a look. So one of the questions I got was, how long does it take to set up a CRM system for my business? That's a bit like, you know, that typical sort of cliche of how long is a piece of string. But generally, you know, for most trades businesses, I've set a few up, and, you know, you need a bit of support from the business owner. And, you know, if you work together as a team, you can kind of have it set up in a few days, you know, that initial setup, but it is an ongoing, and it's like an evolving kind of process. So yeah, so I would say, you know, a few days, but it's an ongoing process. And then the second one, will CRM software work on my phone, or do I have to use a laptop? No, most of these tools, certainly the tools that Paul covered, and certainly, you know, the apps that I've shared, you know, Tradeify, Powered Now, my mind's gone blank, Surefire, and the other one, they will certainly work on your phone as well. So Paul, I don't know if you've got anything you want to add to
Yeah,
it.
that goes the same for Xero. Xero's got a phone app as well, both Android and Apple iOS.
Yeah.
As has Receipt Bank. I noticed somebody had put in about HubDoc.
Yeah.
So HubDoc is a very similar product to Receipt Bank. You can get HubDoc free with Xero at the moment. Whether that will change in the future, I don't know. But it is free with Xero at the moment. Not quite sure on the functionality of HubDoc. I know that obviously it does kind of email and phone extraction. Is that what you use?
Yeah, I use HubDoc. So I switched bookkeepers a little while ago, and it just happened to be the integration that they preferred to use for their clients. So I guess like Receipt Bank, it does very similar things.
Does it have a similar feature of as the invoice fetch?
That I don't know, because I use it at quite a basic level. So I'll scan my receipts in, even though, look, I mean, this is how terrible I am. Even though I've got HubDoc, I've still got receipts that I need to take a picture of. Guilty as charged. But no, HubDoc, I scan the receipts in, and what I like about it is, because a lot of my receipts come in, through email, I've got that email address that I can just forward it to, and then I don't need to worry about it. I don't have to print it off. I don't have to email it to the bookkeeper. I just send it straight to HubDoc, and I know you can do similar with Bank. Lisa asked
that's good.
Another question about ServiceMate, which is cheaper a month. Still works with Xero. What's the difference between that and Tradify? I'm going to be honest and say I don't know, because I know about ServiceMate, but I've not used it. I've used 3 of the tools that I put up, and I just find there's subtle differences. One seems to favour one type of trades, like Surefire is really for plumbing and heating businesses. Howard now seems to manage electrical contractors, plumbing and heating businesses, building contractors equally well. But I quite like the functionality, and my clients quite like the functionality of Powered Now. And Tradify again, very similar. So I think there's not a lot between the tools.
No, I think they are all fairly similar.
Yeah.
Some John McLear, who's on, I know John. Hi, John. He said that ServiceMate, the phone app, only works on Apple devices, so they haven't got an Android version. So that might be a bit of limitation there with ServiceMate.
Yeah. There's a question there from Sarah Crown VA Services. Lovely, Sarah. Would it be correct to say that CRM emails will not go to spam folders, as sometimes MailChimp ones do? Yeah, I mean, it can be an issue, and this is why if you go and buy data and you send to lists that you've bought, it can really put your open rate at jeopardy, because it will start to blacklist you. So a lot of CRM systems, if you try and import a load of data, they will do their own checks, and they may well reject email addresses that they feel are going to end up as spam or reported as spam. So MailChimp, delivery rates in MailChimp can be quite low. If you get a good CRM system that's well managed, one of the professional ones that we've shown you in the presentation, then you shouldn't have a problem with emails going into spam. It's sometimes unavoidable. It's not necessarily something you can entirely control. You can, of course, encourage people to do something called whitelisting. So in your email system, you can get people to whitelist your email address so it never goes into spam. And you can do that on the first email that you send them. And especially it's good for a customer as well if you do that, because then anything that you send that customer, it's going to get straight through to them.
I've spotted another question in there that'll be for you, Steve. Again, around CRMs. I've just lost it. Where's it gone? There. Okay. So there's somebody on the call that says they've got a customized capsule CRM. Are all the things that you spoke about today available across all CRM systems?
Yeah, so Michaela, great question. The basic functionality you're going to get across all CRM systems. So the ability to do the awareness and the acquisition right at the top of the funnel. So to be able to integrate things like if you're running Facebook ad campaigns, I know active campaign will allow you to do that. Get response, so you can integrate a lot of the work that you're doing on PPC within your CRM. It will, do that whole customer management piece, so that lead nurturing, so you can drip feed campaigns out to them. You can set up automations. So all of these tools will all perform very similar functions. It's just, again, some are slightly better than others in the different functionality.
Excellent. I think I can't see any more questions in there that have come through. So
no, there's an observation there from John, the fire safety guy. ServiceMate only works on Apple devices. Clipboard is a good tool and incorporates a CRM system. Listen, guys, hopefully you've really enjoyed that. We've certainly enjoyed presenting it to you, and hopefully, you followed some of those tips, and get on top of some of that software, and it will save you time. I mean, like I said, Powered Now has saved one of the plumbers that I work with at least 4 hours a week, where he was manually writing up gas safety certificates, and now he's got the customer data because it's come through on the inquiry, and it's just, it's a breeze to get it off to the client. I don't know if you've got any closing thoughts, Paul, and then we'll say goodnight and follow up with the replay.
No, all good. Thank you.
Great stuff. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. This is, I think, going to be the last workshop for 2020. We've kind of made it through. We've ridden the storm, and let's all look forward to a great 2021. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks, guys.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.